Who is Keni?
Keni is an unfolded story my life has never followed. A full script.
You spoke about your dad. You mentioned when he passed, you started writing.
If he hadn't passed, I don't think I'd have pushed myself as much as I have.
What has been like some of the challenges because of your gender?
I'm young, so in each of these spaces, I have to grapple with you're female and you have this baby face. I've had to deal with comments like, are you sure you didn't sleep your way here?
Oh God.
People follow Elon Musk a lot more than they follow Tesla. But if you build a personal brand for yourself, even in your highs and lows, people will follow you. People will go with you because everyone likes a good story. Everybody already has a personal brand. Whoever's watching me right now, you have a perception about me. We make perceptions about you based on how you show up. Even personal hygiene, like when you open your mouth. It's just those little things. They create perceptions about you. I recently discovered that the second most Google thing about me is how old I am. I'm like, wow.
Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Unscripted, and today I'm with Keni. Hi Keni, how are you doing? I'm very happy.
Hi Raygan. Hi Team Unscripted.
How are you?
I am excited about today's conversation.
Why? You don't even know what we're going to talk about.
Well, I know it's going to be a good conversation. I've seen the others and I know the production will be good. So yeah, I'm excited.
Well, I'm also excited to have you here because last year, getting towards the end of the year, I was hearing Keni. Everywhere Keni, especially when the elections, like, who's this Keni? And you seem like somebody that does everything, even on your website, even on your LinkedIn. I don't know if you realized yesterday, I accepted your LinkedIn request and I saw somewhere financial services. And I'm like, what is this girl doing in finances? Like, she's like, you've been everywhere before. And
almost everywhere. There are a few places I haven't been to yet.
Like tech,
okay, and other places. I don't want to directly shoot my shots in this video, but yeah.
Okay. Well, first off, I want to know, how's your 2025 been so far?
Busy. Really busy. I said that 2025 will be busy, but it's really taking off in a way that's a little unpredicted. But well, I'm Christian, so with God, I've come to realize that's how He likes to do things in a way that I can't predict. So, yeah.
Okay. I asked Sobol the last time that is he the kind of person that plans his year ahead? Because I used to do that, those whole New Year resolution. Do you do that? Or I feel like it's past?
I do, but I'm not bound by it. So, for instance, I planned this year to start doing YouTube live conversations because I want to build a community there. I've started it. There are certain things I had in the plan for this year that I may have to shift to another part of the year because of certain things that are happening. But I intend to execute all the things that I have planned for the year. I'm just not bound to. Maybe by Tuesday, I should have done this. If I haven't done it, then the whole year is lost. I don't believe
so
in
then
that.
what was the purpose of planning then?
I think planning helps me to visualize the goal, the end goal, what I want at the end of the year. So I still have enough time in the year to execute all of that. So that's how I'm looking at it. If I don't do it by Tuesday, there's still more time in February. There's still more time in Q1 to make sure that I at least lock in, like you like to say, and get stuff done. So, yeah.
I kind of agree because I feel like most people plan and if they're not able to do it by the time they give themselves, they just throw it out of the window, which is not good. Because I remember I shot a video one time on Instagram and I was like, set timelines and all that, but be flexible. Like, I'm not a robot.
Yeah.
You don't need to let the time
Plus, you have no idea what could be thrown into the mix. Maybe you plan to put out something and you fall sick. What are you going to do?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So we plan, but don't be bound by it. I am so sorry. I don't know how that happened.
She's busy. We understand. Anyway, so I want to get to know who Keni is. This is one question that I'll ask every single person that comes on the show. Who is Keni? If you met a potential client or an investor, how are you going to introduce yourself?
Potential clients or investor, dear, that's a different angle. But
maybe we'll take both.
Let's just say, who's Keni? I have to look here. Keni is an unfolded story. I feel like even I am not sure what the rest of my life is going to pan out to look like. I'm saying that because my life has never followed a full script. I'm literally unscripted. I have always been a talkative. Anyone who sat in class with me will tell you I can't shut up. I can't focus on just one thing. I will notice everything, what someone is wearing, what the teacher said, all of that. And somehow all of that has helped me to become the person that I am today. Professionally, I am currently a communications and public relations professional. How did I get into that space? I'd say by accident. I'm sure we'll get into that a
Yeah.
bit more. I'm a wife, I'm a mom,
Oh.
I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, and I generally like to build community. I think that's the thing about me. Wherever I go, I try to find, I like squad somehow. So that's, in a nutshell, that's me. But I've also found that these days I'm leaning towards building community around what happens with our nation.
Yeah.
That's not something that I would have put in my script at all for my life, because I just wanted to be a lawyer or go and work with the UN, or do some consulting and mind my own business. But my life never follows the
Yeah.
script, so I'm eager to see what happens next. But yeah,
You
that's me.
forgot one thing though, which is in your Instagram bio, which is Jesus lover. So
I am a Jesus
I'm just adding it.
girl.
I'm just adding it.
I
Sorry.
am. I am. Proudly, I am a Jesus girl. I'm a
Cute.
Jesus girl. I've always, well, my dad was a reverend minister,
Mhm.
so I've always been in the Jesus environment.
Yeah.
But I think, I mean, SHS really stepped. I was not home, so it sort of removed that environment of constant Jesus, and Jesus became a choice,
Oh, okay.
because now it's not a morning devotion, evening prayer, Sunday something. It's a, I am searching after Jesus.
Yeah.
So it's been a journey. I'd say he's the one who's unscripting my life. So he has sort of shown me that in every chapter there are things to learn, there are things I will not expect, but he will never leave me. So that's it.
Beautiful. So when you were talking about yourself, you mentioned communication, public relations, and I don't know if you mentioned personal branding, but I've written it here anyways. How did you get into that? Because you mentioned something like you were talkative. So do you think being a talkative also helped you get into this place where you have to be talking, yapping every single time?
Yes and no. I told you initially I was just going to go to law school.
Yeah.
So I have an LLB. I was going to go to Makola and mind my own business. When I finished I did my national service with the law firm. Like I said, very law focused. And at that law firm, I had started writing. I started writing by accident again. When my
Okay.
father passed, he was a person I would randomly talk to about things, but he wasn't here. And I needed to find a way to sort of talk about the things I was seeing. So I started writing on Facebook at the time. 10, 11, 12 years ago, Facebook was the thing.
Right.
And so I used to write, maybe the Kilowile Salah didn't come to today. And I would say, I would paint a whole story around why she didn't come. I'd say she fought with her husband, and so she was trying to make up with him, and so she's staying at home, or something happened in the village, and her sister-in-law has poisoned somebody. Like, I was always being dramatic.
Okay.
So people started looking forward to, what's she going to say today? And at that time, Doomsaw was a thing. Oh God, John Mahama, he has suffered in my hands. I used to write about him, and I'll write about things that were happening around people's lives because the lights were off. So like a child can't do his homework, or a couple is fighting and the room is hot. And so now one of them is sitting outside and the other one is reading it as you're ignoring me. Like, my mind goes places. So I was painting pictures for people, and someone said, why don't you just start a blog? And I thought, I don't want to do something and stop. I didn't see myself as a very consistent person. So I thought, no. But I started it. And that's really what changed my life.
Okay.
Because I found how writing stories or telling stories that people could identify with would suddenly make them feel like, I can connect with this person simply because she's telling a story I can relate to. And I wasn't telling any deep stories. It's the Ghanaian stories.
Yeah.
What happens in the churcho? What happened with the roasted plantain woman? What happened when you went to church? What happened when you went to SHS? What happens at work? It's those stories were the stories I was telling. But it gave me a community across the world. I know people in countries whose names I can't even pronounce. but they read the stories I put up. And well, one, it showed me there are Ghanaians everywhere.
Yeah.
Two, it showed me you don't need to be Ghanaian to connect to an authentically well-told African story.
Okay.
Because I had quite a fan base in Nigeria at the time because
They were enjoying, yeah.
And then I also had a lot of people in Canada and countries like Algeria, countries I would never have thought of, but people were connecting there. And I thought, that's the importance of storytelling, really. But that, for instance, made people in the advertising world say, this person can write copy for our adverts or for our TV scripts and things like that. And so I went into advertising. Again, solely by an unscripted plan. I got into advertising. Shortly after that, I got into politics and governance communication, again, because of my ability to tell stories. At the time, it was, I think, if you followed the Akufo-Addo campaign, they were very big on pain points of Ghanaians at the time.
Yeah.
Akufo-Addo was always tweeting about the economy, doomsor, the things that were worrying us. So it felt like we can relate to him.
Yeah.
And I think a part of what the plan was to co-opt that kind of storytelling in how governance was done. So then I came onto the board. That was also eye-opening because it helped me to see how important storytelling is in governance or in perception or in leadership. All those things play a role. You think it's just we've passed the policy, but how are you communicating that policy to someone who is sitting in a church, or how are you communicating that policy to someone who wants to invest in your country? There are various audiences. And so I thought, I saw potential there, and I'm like, that's interesting.
Yeah.
But then shortly after COVID, I got into the financial sector. I went to work in insurance. I've been roaming, yes.
Yes.
I plan to live a very full life. By the time I'm 50, I want to be able to say I've done it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally. So I plan to keep roaming. But I got into insurance, and this was like full on corporate. And there I also saw the importance of storytelling to sell your products and the kind of perceptions people have about you, to even put their trust in you, because you're not the only insurance company or the only financial institution. So why should I choose you? Storytelling again comes into play. So really, it's from my blog, all these things have moved me away from law, but I'm coming back, baby. See me soon.
You spoke about your dad, and sorry if you don't want to, but then you mentioned when he passed, you started writing because you used to talk to him. So do you think it was what pushed you into all
really?
this?
Yes. I actually did I met my younger self for coffee video, and that was really it. If he hadn't passed, I don't think I'd have pushed myself as much as I have. I don't think I'd
Did
have
it affect you personally, though?
Oh, definitely. If you know me before my dad passed, I think the day he passed in the morning around 8 a.m. I got to know around 4 p.m. And the whole world knew. That should tell you how close I was to him.
Yeah, so they didn't want to.
Nobody wanted to tell me. I was in school, so they wanted to tell me when I was around people. They wanted to tell me in a way that could be controlled, but me, I had already sensed that he had left. But eventually they told me. So it was a big deal for me. But I also think that pushed me to, well, it was a journey, but it pushed me to understand how to hold on to God in difficult seasons, because I had questions for God.
Yeah.
The man got better. He was fine. Then he had another episode. We had to go through chemo again. I'm like, what's happening here? So yeah, it was quite dramatic. I'm like, God, can you not see? The man has served you all his life. He has been a pastor since he was 18. Literally. When he finished Presec, he went to Bible school, became a pastor before he went to university. So he has pictures like wearing jeans bells and like the afro with the collar in the nightclub. Because according to him, even people in the nightclub needed to hear like the gospel.
Yeah.
So who's there telling them? So yeah, that's the kind of person my dad was.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. You spoke about storytelling. I mean, most of what you were saying, storytelling. Wait, before that, right? Communication, good. How is communication even a job? Forgive me for putting it that way, but like, Yes, I know how to communicate. If that's the case, then everybody can add that to their bio.
Everybody should,
Okay.
honestly. I think communication is it's an essential tool,
Okay.
regardless of who you are, whether you're an entrepreneur, musician, politician. One of the reasons why someone like Nanaya Ofeata has
Yeah.
such a following is not just because he knows how to dance, it's because
Mhm.
he knows how to communicate and connect.
Okay.
So he's able to create that kind of feeling. And that's why he has that much of a following, even though you can say he's a Johnny Just Come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So communication is a tool that makes things easier for everybody, regardless of who you are. When I say communication is a job, it's because there's someone who is actively thinking about how something is being said, who it's being said to, the perceptions that are being created about what is being said. It's collecting the feedback from the people receiving it and putting that back into how they communicate. I'm not sure everyone is doing that on a full-time
Yeah,
basis.
that's true.
And so especially for corporates or for public figures, you need someone on your team that is actively thinking about those things. If there's a crisis, how are you communicating how to handle that crisis? What are the perceptions that you need to manage? So something like DDEP, I think the government did a terrible job at communicating to us what the situation was.
Yeah.
It should have been treated like the COVID updates. Pretty much every day, this is what is happening.
Yeah.
Because one, there was uncertainty. The uncertainty is spreading rumors. There's panic. There, old women are begging and crying by the roadside. You don't want that kind of perception being created about you. If that had been managed, it may have changed the way the election went. I honestly believe so. So you need someone to be actively thinking, what are we saying? How are we saying it? Why are we saying it? Who are we saying it to? What is the message they are receiving? How are they taking that message? What do I need to improve upon? Is that what I wanted to say? You need someone actively doing that. That's how communication becomes a job.
So your job, your whole
My whole job is
Kasa.
we are talking. Yes,
Yeah, just talk.
Yes.
And that's the same thing in PR.
Yes. So PR is pretty much managing relations with the public.
Okay.
So it includes communication and perception, but also just crisis communication will come in. There's a crisis. How are we communicating? Who are we talking to? What are we saying? How do we want to be seen as? It even includes gifting.
Yeah.
What kind of gifts are we giving? What are we placing our logo on? What are we not placing our logo on? What's the quality of the thing? All those things have to do with it. I mean, press releases are just one part of PR. Most people hear PR and think, I've done a press release, I've sent it to the press, it's in a blog, there's a video, it's out there, but it's 360 perception. Yeah.
So the whole job is being able to communicate, one, and then being able to communicate well with the public when it comes
with
to
your stakeholders. So
and
it
also
can be
anybody. Okay, which seems like something everybody should be able to do or should take serious, but then there are specific people for doing that.
Yes.
So companies hire people specifically come and do that.
To do that, yes.
Okay, beautiful. Yeah, big fan and advocate for personal branding. We had a call, I think last month. We spoke about my brand and all that, and she gave me some positive feedback.
Watch out for Raygan. He's coming in 2025.
They don't know. And that call, even though it was not long, you didn't say like, tender things, but then it opened my eyes to a few things, like simple things. From where you sit as someone who does all these things, what is personal branding? Why does someone need personal branding? Like before even that call, I felt like if you know me from social media, you should know who I am. That's personal branding. But then you touched on other things. So what is it? Adding.
How sad they really felt, because I have a lot of people. You everyday personal brand.
Yeah,
why?
Yes. Why?
Because everybody already has a personal brand. Whoever's watching me right now, you have a perception about me, whether you've met me or not. If you've met me, those perceptions are formed by the interactions you've had with me, or the things you've heard other people say about me, or just what you think when you look at me on social media or wherever it is you interact with me. The thing is, most of us don't realize that we have created that brand for ourselves. And so what I make noise about is being intentional about how you are seen, how you are perceived, what you come across as, how you demonstrate your competence. Because I was telling Raygan, for instance, that he's multifaceted, but there are parts of him I didn't know about until we had the conversation. So just for the sake of the kind of opportunities you may be leaving on the table, simply because there are people who know you. You're quite well known, I think, in your circles, but they may not know that those are things that you are capable of doing, or things that they can consider you to do, and things like that. So just being intentional about how you are seen, how you come across. So for some people, for someone like me, talking is not a problem. So communication will not be something I need to work on, or public speaking. But for instance, one of the things I had to work at was personal styling, how I show up dressed up. Because I was doing all sorts of things and I got feedback from people. You are fantastic, but you don't dress as fantastic as you are. I'm like, no problem. I'll do that for you. So I literally went on a whole, I wouldn't have dressed like this for this like some 3 years ago.
Really?
Oh no. This hair. This
What would you be
braids,
wearing?
Nails. No.
What would you be wearing?
No nails. I'd have probably twisted my hair. Not that
Like,
there's anything wrong with twisting my
yeah.
hair, but the way I'd have put myself together would not have been as intentional as it is now. Because I needed to, because we make perceptions about you based on how
Yeah.
you show up. So I needed to, especially for the spaces I was going into, I needed to step up the way I put myself together. And so I started doing that. But for some people, it may be having to improve upon how you communicate your wins. For some people, it may be having to improve upon even personal hygiene, like when you open your mouth, people have to hold their noses. It's just those little things. They create perceptions about you. You don't want people to say, oh, she's fantastic at financial analysis, but...
When she,
And you'll be shocked.
when she will be about.
Those kind of things make decisions.
Yeah.
Or she's great, but she does not have people skills. So
Yeah.
So it's really just being intentional about how you show up. Because for everybody, we already have perceptions about you.
Everybody. That's
no
true.
No doubt.
That's why some people can meet somebody and the first time they're like, I don't like this person.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
true.
There, it's something they said, something, it's your aura wraps them off a wrong way, or something they've heard about you, or some comments you posted on, maybe someone was trolling someone and you came to say something else, and it's like, is that how you are? All those things make they create perceptions about you. So just being intentional about how you show up is why I keep making noise about it. Yeah.
So for someone, because there are people that want to, let's say a business owner here, they are trying to put content out there, because right now, this era, that's what sells. That's like social media, being able to push your business and all that. Do they still need a personal brand? Because I think when you did your office hours here, you mentioned something in relation to Elon and Tesla and all that. People know him more than they know the business and all that, which means as a business owner, you need to have a personal brand. Absolutely. But then some people feel like they can't put up that front on. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So how did they go about it?
Well, first of all, if you need convincing, like he said, people follow Elon Musk a lot more than they follow Tesla. And you can check for all the businesses that are front-facing, that are public and known, people always go and look for the people behind them. That's why podcasts are famous these days, because you get to meet the person behind whichever brand it is you are seeing. So there is a place for you building your personal brand, just showing up and showing us who you are, the process of building that product or that service or whatever value it is you are bringing to the table. Because if you don't do that, I have no doubts that you'll be able to make sales if you hire a few influencers, have a nice, compelling offer. But that community that will stay with you regardless of how many times you pivot. If maybe you decide, I'm going into interior decor, or no, I'm going back into tech, or whatever it is. If you build that community, you will have a ready audience, a ready market, regardless of where you go. So if you think of building a corporate brand, the brand is around the product and the service. If you shut down that business today, that's it. But if you build a personal brand for yourself, even in your highs and lows, people will follow you. People will go with you because everyone likes a good story. We always follow people on TikTok. They do story time. Part 34 of how I left my boyfriend. We like stories. We like to connect. So if you are connecting, it feels like you're putting yourself out there, and it might feel like I don't want people in my business, but you can control what you put out. So there is merit in showing up as a business owner or as a person who's front facing in a way that spills over to your business. Sometimes it even gives you added credibility. I'll say this all the time. I started selling something and I had my phone stolen in the week that someone placed an order. She could have said, this person has taken my money because she paid on Paystack. So the money is gone. She can't take it back. It's gone. She's gotten a receipt, but she has no way of reaching me. She's going to assume this girl has run away with my money.
Yeah.
Probably come and drag me on social media, and I'd have to think through a crisis communications plan. But what she did was she reached out to me on LinkedIn. I think she sent me a DM and said she's ordered this, but she hasn't heard from me. And so when I logged onto my laptop, I was able to see that she had left me a message.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, I'm so sorry, I've lost my phone. This is why. This is the situation, etc. If I hadn't built a personal brand, you'd have been hearing a different story. Maybe you even invite me. So there are benefits for that. You create credibility. You create. You're able to control the narrative. Even if there's something wrong with your product, your human face allows you to manage that process. People like to be. That's why they'll say, "I want to see your face," or payment on delivery. It's trust. And that trust you can build with currency, showing up every day, showing your face, showing what you're doing, what you're working on. It makes people feel like I can relate to this person. So yes, please, if you own a business, if you are anybody that's doing something that requires people, you need a personal brand.
They need to push themselves into it.
Yes.
How did you personally go about, say, from when you started writing, the whole storytelling thing? Somebody said, oh, you can do advertising and all that. Whilst you were doing all this, you were building your personal brand. How intentional were you about it at that time? And how are you going about it? Let's see if we can steal something from there.
To be fair, my friends would tell you I'm too intentional. I'm always thinking ahead. It's not true. It's just that in the moment, I'm thinking of how I can maximize what I have.
Okay.
That's really it. It's not I have it all planned out, because I don't. But when I started the blog, I told you I like community. So the first thing I did was I created a Facebook page.
Mm-hmm.
The next thing I did was so there was a Facebook page for the blog.
Okay.
Most people weren't doing that at the time. You create Facebook pages for your company. But I had a page for the blog. It's still up today.
Okay.
And what I did was I started by building that community. It wasn't really about me. It was about, these are the people who read my blog and I want to connect with them. So when they put comments under the blog,
mm-hmm.
like they'd usually write, oh my God, I can't believe this guy did this. And I'll come and chat with them. Again, talkative me. I'll come and chat with you in the comment section. Like the comment sections, it got to a point people would go and read the blog and then go and read the comments, because it was like booming. There are people like forming alliances. Maybe there was this particular guy, Prosper. He was beating his wife in one of the episodes. Someone started a hashtag Prosper is a pig. Other people started.
And this was just made up stories.
Yes. And like people were, I remember someone died and someone sent me a video of her wearing black so the next day she read the story on Wednesday, and on Thursday she wore black to mourn the loss of the person who had passed, because like it's deep.
Yeah.
You won't get that if you don't have community. If you're not telling stories they can identify with, two, making them feel like it matters what they think. Because sometimes I used to ask them, what do you guys think? Where should we go next with the story? And sometimes some of the things they'll see featured in there. Sometimes their names would come in there. So it really felt like we are all one happy family and we are telling a story. Then I started having events. So even before they started doing these, what's it called? Now they do live sessions. We're having a podcast and there's an audience.
Okay. Yeah. Live podcast, yeah.
Like 7-8 years ago, I was having meetups. My people would travel from Takoradi, Kumasi, and come, and we're just sitting there and we're chatting and we're vibing. And I can share some of the pictures with you. You'd see they would make, oh my God, you are this person in the comment section that I've been chatting with. Like, make connections. There are people who have gotten married from connecting on my blog.
I think you need to organize it again.
There are people, it's really community. So it almost just felt like we are one happy family. And I think that's really what has led me to this point, because a lot of people who have recommended me or mentioned my name in places are people that I've built this credibility with over time. They knew that every Wednesday they'll get a story, whatever is happening in my life, if for a reason. At a point, I think my boyfriend at the time was going out of the country and his flight was leaving on a Wednesday. So I told them I can't publish this Wednesday. I didn't tell them why, but if you know, you know. So on Thursday I published, and then I think I said it because like I was carrying them along. We're all in it together. When I got married, I put my picture on the blog. I said, "Yay, we are married now," because they were part of the journey,
Yeah.
you know. So it was pretty much community. And that's how it became like, it's based on that I sort of pivoted into, now I'm going into corporate. Now I'm, being more intentional about a communications career. I may have to pivot. So initially, if you went on the blog in those days, when you enter, like once you enter the URL and you open it, you just see stories flashing. Whichever ones I'm featuring, you'd see some stuff at the bottom, and then you see a meet me. Today, the website has pivoted to a me.
Yeah.
If you go and you go scroll down to blog, you see all the stories there. I had to pivot because my life is changing and I needed to, but I'm still carrying along that audience with me. So that's how it happened. But I've always been very intentional about, one, I didn't want my blog to have adverts. So I made sure I paid for WordPress to take away the ads. Then one of my readers first paid for my URL. At the time, it was kenikojo.com. Paid for it so that it's no longer kenikojo.wordpress.com.
Okay.
Again, if I didn't have that community, nobody is
Nobody's
willing
going
to
to-
take out
yeah.
their dollars and pay for a URL for me. Doesn't make sense.
That's cute.
Then when I started writing the story series, I have people say, I'm a photographer. Let's shoot, some scenes from some of their favorite scenes. I'll ask them, guys, who wants to be in the shoot?
Yeah.
And people will come and be in the shoot. Like, it was a whole, we are one happy family. And it's by building that community that I really understood how one community is transferable. I'm literally speaking about myself.
Yeah.
Because some of my first clients in personal branding and consulting have all come from, I've carried you along from the days when I just used to write stories. Yeah.
Where do you draw the line? Because when you were sharing about the stories, you mentioned about your boyfriend traveling, you get married, and where do you draw the line? When do you say, okay, this is too personal, it doesn't go out? This is because when I had a call with you, I think you were talking about something around that side where we're like, nope, you don't post your son or maybe your husband and all that. So you know where you draw the line. But then for someone getting into it, where do they draw the line?
I think it really depends on you. At the moment, my line is my family is off limits.
Okay.
I don't talk about my family. I currently don't talk about where I work.
Okay.
So when I was in Prudential, I was more, hey, Prudential. But now I'm not as...
Yeah.
I'm more, okay, these are the services I'm offering. This is Jesus content. Go and vote. Like, these are my content buckets right now. I think for everybody, you need to, at a point, just evaluate and see what works for me, what I want to showcase, what I want to highlight. It's really up to you. I can't draw that line for you. There are people who are battling cancer that want to do their come with me as I go for chemotherapy. There are some people who don't want to talk about that. They want their content to be their escape. So it really depends on you and what your bandwidth is.
So you have to make that decision.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You look at who you are and what you're going with.
And what you can stand online here. Because there's some content you post, people come for you.
Yeah.
People come for you. One thing I realized last year, I speak to like one or two female friends, was like challenges females faced in no matter where you work. Right? I think there was even a point most females were not in tech like that. Right now it's changing. You have females being developers, product designers and all that. When you started years back till now, what has been like some of the challenges? That's one. Secondly, also because of your gender. Because I want to take out that narrative because you're making waves. I mean, you had an event with Afsa recently. Like, bro, Afsa is inviting you to an event to come in.
I made it.
Yeah, she has made it. Right. I want the people watching to know that, okay, yes, there were challenges, but you overcame them. And also for the females to know that it's possible to also thrive.
There are challenges. I see there are challenges.
Please tell us.
There are challenges, okay. I think for me, it was a double thing.
Mm-hmm.
One, I'm female. Two, I'm pretty young.
Yeah.
I'm younger than most people expect me to be. I recently discovered that the second most Google thing about me is how old I am. I'm like, wow.
I'm going to check online.
I was shocked. I was like, why are you so interested in my age? Just
Yeah.
ask me. Why are you Googling my
Please,
age?
how old are you?
Come in, I'll text you.
Okay.
I'm saying that because apparently people think I'm closer to Gen Z, which is like, I'm like, cool. But I'm not. So let me keep it a mystery for now. But how old do you think I am?
31. Because of what you just said.
I'm older than that. Yeah. I see it's just it's the youth. The
Oh, they are
fountain of
blessed
youth.
though.
It's the fountain of youth, guys.
Can you are blessed though?
I'm older than that.
Wow.
But it's cool.
And also you have
good.
the energy. So I'm not sure people associate you with Gen Z. Anyway, the challenges.
So I'm young.
Mhm.
And so in each of these spaces, I have to grapple with you're female and you have this baby face.
Yeah.
So in their heads, they don't take you seriously. Or then you have to deal with how did you even get here? I've
Yeah.
had to deal with comments like, are you sure you didn't sleep your way here?
Oh God.
I've had to deal with why should I send you my scripts to review? When did you come here? Like, I've been in this company for 10 years. You know, people are always pulling their age card. People are pulling their... Sometimes you even have to deal with subtle sexual harassment. Those are things you have to navigate. But what I've found is, one, if there's anything that's inappropriate, deal with it head on. Don't... I was telling someone this today. Don't just assume that the fact that you did this to your face sent a message.
Yeah. Some
Sometimes
people
you
don't
have
even...
to say, excuse me, I don't think that's appropriate.
Okay.
Or sometimes you have to go and tell someone who's higher up that if you work in a structured place, hopefully there are rules that follow that are able to speak to that. But if you don't, then you have to make it clear that this is a line you can't cross. You can't come in, make comments about how nice my legs are looking in a skirt. Like, guy.
Oh, Charlie.
I have a mirror. I know once my legs.
And she has a husband. She would tell...
At that time, I wasn't even married, so I guess that's why they felt like they could say that. I'm like, mm-mm. So it's really about... I think one of the things we do as women is when it happens, we tend to do the whole, God, woe is me. Let me just keep quiet and deal with it, and they'll go away. The truth is, if you don't stand up and put that border, they are just going to keep climbing over it. And the next time it's come and let me hug you small. The next time it's and these are realities. I'm sure you girls know. Hey, today you're looking really delicious. Guys, stop that, okay? I know that it feels like it's cute. It's not. Please stop.
She's telling you the truth. It's not cute. Stop it.
It's not cute. So yeah, it's put in that border. Also, just keep putting in the work, because people will constantly question how you got there, what you're doing. I mean, look at me. You think I'm 31 and I've worked in insurance, I've worked in governance, I've worked in
come to think of it, I didn't even
So in all those places, I was less than 31 in all those places. And you had to think of how I was, maneuvering all those places. So it's really about, one, just put in the work, do the work. So that, because it got to a point when, for instance, like one of my colleagues was asking, why do I have to send my stuff to her? My boss told her, because she's good at this thing, so send it to her. If I hadn't put in the work, it would just be because the person sending me the work was a lot older than me, and probably speaks, in his opinion, better English than me, etc., and all of that. But it comes down to do the work. If there's any form of abuse or some sort of line, make sure that that's clear. But also create community. I'm a community girl. These days, I'm trying to speak to women who are just venturing into comms, who are just entering the work world. Just young ladies, telling them, look out for this. This is how to handle that. This is how, if you're a female, you should deal with your female boss because there are dynamics.
Okay.
If you have a male boss, these are the dynamics. These are the things to deal with. With female bosses, sometimes you even have to consider the fact that their menstrual cycle can determine how they give you feedback.
Yeah.
There are things no one will tell you, but you go and cry in the washroom wondering what you've done because yesterday I presented it was fine, today is rubbish. Sometimes it's just things like that
on that
you need
topic,
to navigate. You say it.
On the topic of
if they'll drag you, say it.
I've passed it. On the topic of if you're female, you need to know how to relate with your female boss because of the whole menstrual thing. So maybe this female employee submits something to their boss today. It's good, tomorrow is not good.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the menstrual cycle thing. Can't the boss do something about it? Because you have to use that as an excuse. I don't know if you get my point.
So what I'm saying that I'm not using that as an excuse for the boss. I'm explaining to the young lady the dynamics so that she doesn't feel like it's an indictment to the quality of her work.
Okay.
I'm trying to let her understand that there may be different things. She may have just woken up on the wrong side of the bed. It could be that there are issues at home that she hasn't finished dealing with.
That's fair.
There are things that people don't really talk about, but they are real. So sometimes even understanding that it's just a bad day and going back, let's say 2-3 days later to say, I just wanted to follow up on the feedback you gave about this. You said this and this. I wanted to confirm if this and that. Thankfully, if they are self-aware, they would have noticed that I was too rushed in giving the feedback and then improve upon how they do it. But most of us women would take it as oh God, this woman must hate me. She hates me. She's going to sack me, or they're going to put me on performance improvement, or maybe I should start looking for another job, or I'm fighting with her over a guy. Like it can be anything. What you need to do is just keep the emotion out of it. Take the feedback. Is there anything I can improve on? And do that. And then just keep going. Most of the time, if you show them a little grace, it actually earns you more respect because they are more likely to think, oh, this girl is more mature than.
Okay. So it's all about the emotions, being able to understand.
A lot of it has to do with the emotions.
Yeah, that's true. Interesting. There are two questions I have. One is on negotiation and the other is on storytelling. Storytelling, I mean, for someone like you write. I feel like storytelling will come to you easy. For someone who is, let's say me, myself, I don't like writing. Mm-hmm. I hate writing. I can't even explain it now. How do I go about storytelling? Same thing like the question I asked a few minutes back. For a business owner that's trying to push their product and all that, like we've already understood, they need to have a personal brand. What is that storytelling factor?
How do you go about storytelling? I tell everyone who says they don't know how to write a story that they do. They just think that it has to go through a certain kind of process.
Okay.
So when you hear a good story, you know it's a good story, no?
Yeah, fair.
When you watch a good movie, you know it's a good movie.
Yeah.
But you are not a movie producer.
Okay.
So you know what a good movie feels like. You know that the lighting is great, the cinematic whatever is good, the subtitles are on point, the music that they chose. So you know those elements. You've just not thought about, what kind of music will I add to this reel for it to feel like a certain kind of story. But I keep saying, if you think about it, you can think of stories that resonated with you. What made it resonate with you? Whether it's a movie or something someone told you. You guys seem like you're very young, but By the Fireside was a thing when I was a kid.
Oh, my mother mentioned it.
Wow. By the Fireside was a thing when I was a kid. And it's just stories. People are telling stories. And no one was marking this is not a good story or this is not a good story. It was just there are morals in this story, or this story I can relate to because I can identify with the people in there. So for me, what I'll say is you already know what a good story is. You just need to be a little more intentional about applying what you already know to what you are writing or what you're putting out. One of the things you did was, I think at the beginning of the year, you're doing a lot about locking in. There are a few. That's storytelling. One, you are working on your own, and so you know that it's not like there's a boss hovering around you. Do the work. So you're speaking to a specific audience of you need to lock in with your willpower and get the work done. You are telling a story. You're speaking to a specific audience, to people who want to do something that year, how they're going to do it. And you're locking in, you're being relatable because you're not saying it in a, I'm a school prefect ordering you to go and lock in. You're saying, Charlie, we all need to lock in and get the thing done. Look at me, I'm doing mine, you better do yours. That kind of vibe. That's storytelling. Because that's why someone like Apple wants to tell a story about what they are doing in sustainability. And rather than say, hello, we have introduced a something, something, something on sustainability. These are the highlights. These are the things. This is what to look out for. End of press release. They decided to shoot a video. That is why there are some airlines that rather than have the air hostess tell you, they will do a video.
Yeah.
Or they'll do something that you can relate to. So one, it makes you pay attention to what you would ordinarily have glossed over. It makes you also think, oh, this is entertaining. Let me watch it to the end. It helps you to like notice the things that you would have ordinarily skipped over. So it's just being intentional. I maintain every single person knows what a story is. Just determine who your audience is. If you're speaking to kids, use language that kids understand. Yeah. If you're speaking to the guy in the church, use language that people like him understand. So if you're talking to a church mate, the language cannot be the same as if you're talking to the governor of the Bank of Ghana.
Yeah.
So just identify the audience you're speaking to and make sure that what you're saying is being said in a way that they can relate to. That's really it.
When you said you were talking about by the fireside, right? There was one thing you said that people were not looking at if the story is good or bad, but just the moral. And it just clicked. So if you are telling a story, like people who do the video, it always has to have one thing. Either it's funny, it's inspiring, it's educating someone, it's motivating them. Am I correct?
Absolutely.
So that's the whole point of...
Even if the goal is to make them feel like, I want to buy this product, there must be a goal at the end of it. It can't just be, today's contents day, so I'm shooting contents. Right. If there's something at the end of it, then that intentionality is that's the process of storytelling. That mapping of what I want to say, who I want to say it to, in a way that gets them to either feel a certain way or take a certain action. Yeah.
Beautiful. For people who like talking, one thing I've realized is they know how to vibe. I mean, when it comes to, let's say, pricing, negotiating and all that, they are good at it. Because there are some clients, I guess, sometimes, and then like I'll be like, okay, I'll take this amount. But the way they talk to you at the end, you're like, hey, this guy is good. Like you yourself, you know that you are being vibed, but you fall for it, right? How have you been going about pricing, negotiating? You know, because you do consulting and all that. How do you go about it? Because money is a very interesting thing for people.
So this is a constantly evolving thing for me. Even as I sit here, I have a meeting scheduled with somebody to discuss my pricing for 2025.
Okay.
But again, team personal branding. Even your personal brand can influence the kind of price you settle on in the final set. So I had a LinkedIn Live conversation with someone who is really good with negotiation, helping people prepare for interviews and stuff like that. And he said the negotiation starts even before you start talking about money. It starts when you walk into the room. If you're well put together, he knows that he can't offer you 1,500 cedis for the role he's asking you to do. If you talk about your experience in a way, he knows that I can't give this girl 5,000 cedis for this role. So personal brand. I think one, how you show up, your ability to articulate your value, because I can say, Raygan, I want to charge you 10,000 cedis for this service I'm providing. And you can say, no, it's too much. And my comeback would be, this and this and this is what I am giving you.
Okay.
For you to be able to do 1, 2, 3. Once I paint that in your mind, you want 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So in your head, you're thinking, okay, how can we get to 1, 2, 3? If I'm not paying her the 10,000, let me at least give her 9,000.
Right.
Okay, I can come to 8,000. But the truth is, maybe I can go all the way to 5,000, but I've painted the destination in your mind. And with the way I'm seated, the way I put myself together, what I'm showing you, maybe what my former clients have said, or the kind of results I can speak to, you think I want that value. So you are really placing value on what I can give you, not necessarily on the price tag I've put on the thing. So guys, reevaluate your value.
Put yourself together. That's me. That's what I took. That's what I took.
Because honestly, I've sat in an interview where someone was offering me a certain amount of money for a role, and he couldn't believe it. I mean, I just looked at him and I said, it's below what I would take. And it's like, wow, how dare you? And it's not because it was a bad amount. I mean, I'm sure someone would be fine, but I looked at that amount and I said, no. I could take this amount, but even the story I'm telling about myself does not match this amount. So, no. So I didn't.
So it comes down to being confident, because if you really, really, really need that money.
I needed the job, but I didn't take it.
Some
because
people will.
The amount was not aligning with what I wanted.
You're standing your grounds.
Yeah.
That's interesting. You know, the story you shared about the age when we were talking about the challenges, right? I had a similar issue when I was on campus. I started product design and all that. I think in my third or fourth year, I got a project with, is it MMA? Yes, it was a government project. So we were designing some dashboard for local assembly and all that. So we entered the room. So the guys that connected me were developers working with them. So we entered the room and then they did the pitching and everything. Like, oh, they need design and all that. They didn't even ask me how much I was going to charge. They mentioned their price. Then I was like, oh, it's not going to work for me. And these were old people, like government officials. So they were so shocked. They were just looking at me. So after the meeting, I asked the guys how much they were charging the people. And they mentioned, I was like, no wonder they were offering this. So I told them it was not going to work. I gave them my price. They went, came back and said, okay, they're going to do it. Now, in that meeting, just like you said, because I was young, I was still on campus, I think I started this hair. So they thought, Charlie, some gangster boys. I think 4 weeks, 6 weeks when we had started the project and all that. Now I realized that things had started changing in terms of communication, the way they were talking, because they realized that this person can actually do the work. So now it all comes down to being able to deliver on what you say you're going to do. Because at the beginning, oh, no, schoolboy, I can't charge.
They'll talk to you like you're a small boy.
You schoolboy, I can't charge this amount. They didn't even respect. Anyways, before we end, I have one question. I want us to talk about elections, the government in the nation. But before that, there's one question I have for you that when I was typing this question came up. What does success feel like to you as Keni?
Success. Wow, that's multifaceted. But for me, the first one would be that I've made Jesus proud in terms of me dying empty. There are lots of things that I'm supposed to do on this earth. And if you spend time on my socials, I'm sure you catch a glimpse, but it's not even all of it. There are so many things that I should be doing. For instance, I sing, but I'm sure
you
don't know
sing.
that. I sing. I used to sing like opera level soprano in a choir.
Wow.
Yeah. I haven't sung in God knows how long, so don't ask me to sing that.
I don't know what
but yeah, I used to sing like solos and classical compositions. No one knows that. And the voices, it's just my son that is enjoying my voice. Yeah, but so it's dying empty, knowing that all the things that God placed in me have been touched on, have been handled. It's also having the financial freedom to give back. You know, at the beginning we talked about income or impact.
Yeah.
You need income to make a certain level of impact. So having that financial freedom to do all the things I want to do, because one of the things I want to do is to revolutionize how creative arts is incorporated in education in Ghana. That's something I'm super passionate about. I feel like we are missing out on that. People go to school and they just chew, pour, pass, forget. I learned the thing. I'm afraid that there's a cane. But if we find a way to incorporate the creative arts, it becomes more relatable. I, for instance, finally understood how the times table worked when I sat in a music class and we're doing time signature. I think they said 2/4, and they said every 2 beats or every 2 beats in every 2 quarter beats, That's what made me understand, oh, this is the concept of how to count, how to multiply, how to jump, how to anticipate that if I do this and there's a rest. I couldn't get it in the math class, but because I'm musically inclined, I got that in the music class. And there are so many of us that have creativity in us it's like creativity is seen as now it's even a little more accepted because people can see people making money out of it. But there are so many artists, there are so many musicians, there are so many think of all the creators, even people who do fashion, people who do pottery, all these things that have shelved those things because there was no room for them to grow them. So they've gone into some 9 to 5 they hate. And the only time they get to paint is when like HR offers some support paint option or something like that. But there are so many things that we are missing out on by not harnessing our creative sides, even in the learning process. And I would really love for that to be incorporated. Is there a way that we can even use music to teach how to be a citizen? Because there's so much out there, and Ghana has a lot of creatives, but for a long time we've sidelined that. I just tweeted yesterday that the creative arts industry has a way of like capturing the stories of the life we are living, and we are not telling those stories. Creatives dying is just another day. Someone who has contributed to the culture of the nation, everybody's just looking away. But if we can do that, even if we could tell the story of how this country is going and use creative art, you'd see how it would finally be, I'm proud to be Ghanaian. Right now, we don't have that. And John Mahama, I'm really hoping you do that. I know that this is your legacy term, so I'm really hoping you do that. But if we can find a way to give creativity that front-facing thing it should have, it would change things. We did Year of Return and we missed a big opportunity to highlight the creativity we have in this country. People come and think it's just, I go to the art center and I buy a few things. What about music? Why can't people come and compose music here in Ghana? Because we have certain beats that are traditional to Ghana. We have certain rhythms that are traditional to Ghana. We're not telling those stories. People are writers. They are gone. How are we using those writing skills in even the documentaries we are telling about Ghana, Beyond the Return? How were they incorporated? It's not just the popular musicians, because there are certain niche musicians. Someone like Adoma, someone like what's the name of this lady? She's on Twitter. She doesn't sing anymore, but she's supposed to sing. Maya, I'm sure she'll see this eventually. She has such a unique sound. So you see people like Ria Boss and all those people who have unique sounds going. There's a market for that, but they are not going in with the blessing of Ghana. They are going with the shared blessing of my own grit and will. But imagine if they had a nation or a certain authority that's focused on just highlighting these stories. People want to go to America and even to Asia because of the creative arts. It's the creative arts that are telling us, now people say in it. You think you just randomly learnt in it. It's because it's in a movie. Nigeria is harnessing that. So you see they're pushing their creatives. So now everyone is singing Favor. It surrounds me like a sheet across the world. The guy is Ghanaian, so he's Nigerian, so he's singing it with a Nigerian accent. And we are all singing it with a Nigerian accent. If you like singing it, you realize you're saying favor. You're not saying favor. Because they are influencing you. So you're like, okay, I want to go to Nigeria and go to his church. Creative arts is translating into tourism. So that's really my passion projects. But you need money to do that kind of thing. Or you need a political position. I don't have political power. So I need the money.
I'm sure you'll get into political position soon, or it's not part of your plans. So now that brings me to the nation and the government side of things.
That's the question you wanted to ask me. I thought you were going to ask me what do I think about the nation.
No, talk about that because I mean in November, December, you were very loud with the whole election. I think you were on one of the TV stations to talk about elections. People need to go and vote and all that. Why? And are you looking at getting into politics? I need to know. So
wow, you moved to me. Oh.
And please, when you do get into
You
there,
moved to me. Oh, wow. Okay, cool.
we hope that when you get there, you'll not forget us. You come back to Unscripted. Thank you. So now your question, the answer.
Hey, not you plugging in a future Unscripted visit.
Yes.
The first thing, do I think I'll get into politics? Absolutely.
Okay.
I think that for a lot of the things that we are advocating for, someone needs to do them.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people I am expecting to do these things have not risen to that occasion.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to put my hand up to say, okay, put me somewhere and let me get to work. The challenge here is with our current system, it almost feels like a cult. If you are in NPP, you can't say anything when NPP is in power. It's now that they're out of power that they are suddenly saying what is wrong. But as you can tell, me, I always have something to say and I can't keep quiet. So I don't know how I'm going to fit into either NPP or NDC at this point, because I will have opinions and they may not necessarily toe the line of this is what everyone in the party is saying. But the one thing I know is I can't take away my love for the nation and the direction I think it should be heading in. So it is that love for the nation that I'm willing to harness into what can I do. Plus, I'm really hoping that we'll get to a point where people can work for this nation without being politically aligned. I am good at this, so I can do it. I'm coming to do it for the nation.
Yeah,
that should be. I think we are way past that. Like we are literally at alarm bell stage now, where you need all hands on deck. Who are the people who have the eye for graphic design? Let's create maybe some sort of brand book for how all the ministries will approach comms, how it can be done. But everyone needs to show a party card first. And that's the challenge. So in the end, it's only those who have party cards that will go and do it. They may do it. They may not do a good job. Or they may do a good job, but after 4 years, another person comes and we start from scratch.
Yeah.
We're not building anything beyond any of the political parties. And that's, for me, the biggest challenge. Which is why I hesitated when you asked the question. Because at this point, then it's like, so are you in NPP or are you in NDC? I mean, neither.
There was something you told me in the DMs. I don't know if you remember.
Which one?
You used to work in one of the political parties and you had to leave.
I worked in government. I said that here. So yes, I did work in government. So I guess people will be expecting me to align with that party. But obviously, me, if you are doing something without saying it, and you will not like it. Yeah. So I'm not sure how I fit in. That's where. But for now, what I can do is talk. So I would say go and vote. We finished voting. So now people will be hearing from me about what to do now that you have voted. Because I feel like we have an opportunity to turn this nation around somehow. And the Stop Galamsey protests were a really good way to demonstrate that. So it was a way to show that people can unite beyond their differences.
Yeah.
Yes, some of the people have gone to show that they are actually now NDC, but it still doesn't change the fact that Galamsey needs to stop.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that people keep saying, keep talking about it, even though maybe their party is in power or it's the party they didn't want in power has left. Whatever it is, the Galamsey has to stop. We need to get clean water. We need to... I really want us to get to the point where every Ghanaian has the opportunity to thrive. Like, you don't have to know anyone or be anyone special to just have a good life in Ghana. That should be possible.
Yeah.
I should be able to go to school, have the opportunities to expand my life. If I want to do creative arts, if I want to work with my hands, if I want to go to school, all those opportunities should happen. If I need a scholarship, I should be able to get it without knowing a big man or having to pay something. That's why we're paying the taxes. That's what makes America great, because they give you the opportunities, and for some of the things, you just simply have to be American and you qualify for them. So I'm hoping we can get there. I don't know how we'll get there, but I'm willing to put my effort in there, journey to getting there. As to how I'll fit in, I don't know. So when we get there, we'll figure it out.
Just know you have 1, 2, 3 plus my other 2. We have our votes. 5
I'm
votes
not
now.
voting. I'm not standing for the office, please. I beg you.
You stand that we have to vote. You have our votes, right?
Supposed to vote for me.
Yeah,
okay, so I have 5 votes.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, the last 4 years has made a lot of Ghanaians like politics because of how they
You have to pay attention.
Yes.
Politics, even if you don't pay attention to it, will pay attention to you. So
And the biggest problem, like you said, is the party thing. And I mean, you people are the ones there. We don't know the solution to it because
we're all here.
I feel like MPP NDC is going to continue for I don't know how long, but because definitely you have to associate with the party.
I agree, but before NPP and NDC came, there was CPP, there was PNDC. There were journeys before we got to where we got.
Okay, so you feel like
I feel like I honestly thought that we would see a formidable third force.
Yeah.
And that's why I was quite disappointed with a lot of them. Because I thought for some of them, they had a good message, but they were not communicating.
Well,
and they were not being intentional about getting the message out. And I don't know what it is, but too many of them still think it has to be, I go and sit on radio and I go and talk about my thing. Because one of them had really good ideas. And I hear, oh, he did a radio. So I'm like, no one saw you on radio. The people who are first-time voters, that bracket of people, we don't listen to radio.
No.
At best, we'll watch a YouTube.
They should have come to Unscripted.
They should have come to Unscripted, truly. They should have come to Unscripted and sit down and have a conversation with you of what they want to do. I don't know why they didn't do that. So, which is why I went to Stay by Plan. I went to polls because the people I'm trying to reach are people who listen to those things.
Yeah.
So it's an audience match for me. But if we can find a way to just turn this nation, it's possible. It's possible.
Oh yeah, it's possible.
It's very possible.
You guys should stop leaving Ghana. It's possible. Last question.
I guess why they are leaving.
Yeah.
But if everybody leaves, there'll be no one to around. So yeah, please don't leave.
Yeah, please don't leave. Yeah. Relax more. You have to go with one more question. It's been 2 months since this new government came into power. How has it been? We were talking before the pod.
I really putting me on the spot. So.
Yes, she likes politics, and you've been very loud on Twitter. Even yesterday, I saw you were asking about the whereabouts of one of the party candidates. We were talking before the pod. I mean, about John Mahama and his government and how you see things turning around. Please tell us.
I think that this is supposed to be a redemption term for John Mahama. That's how I see it. And I think he's determined to leave the right kind of impression in the minds of Ghanaians. Because this is his last, I think this is the last opportunity he has.
Yeah.
So I have confidence that he will try and get us to the kind of destination he wants to get to. My challenge is he's not doing it alone. He's doing it with a team. Not everyone in that team, and when I say team, I mean the entire party. Not everyone in that party felt what he felt when he lost, how people stopped going to him, whatever made him resolve to do better this time. Not everyone has experienced that. So I'm eager to see how he will whip them in line to do the right thing. To deliver on promises, to not sound tone deaf when we complain about things. I'm really eager to see that. And I think I've also tweeted I'm eager to see how they'll use digital media in communicating the things they're doing. Because they're doing all sorts of things, but I'm not seeing that storytelling come through. And I'm also eager to see how they roll out all the many things they've said.
Yeah.
I'm sure they are now getting a true sense of how much money we have, how much debt we have. And that may impact all the things they said because, I mean, they were not sitting behind
They're not sitting, so they didn't see it well,
They didn't see it well. So even how they'll manage our expectations in terms of what we do, I'm really looking forward to seeing that. But I know that I sense that he has good intentions. I know this because John Mahama used to bash you a lot.
Yeah.
See, I really used to bash you. So I sense that need to repair that legacy. And I'm hoping that he will be able to motivate his team to get us to that point. I see that he has also appointed a lot of young people.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's going to play out because the truth is they are young, which is good. It checks the box of I'm having young people, but are they capable?
Yeah.
Are they able to deliver? Are they able to lead people to deliver on certain results? Are they able to handle feedback? how would they even edit how they talk on social media now that they are in certain positions?
Yeah.
All those are, because little things are part of what impacts the whole government.
Yeah.
Not everything was an Akufo-Addo thing, but everything was directed
yeah.
to him. There were some things that some other people said. I think is it someone who said Cathedral ni ebesi o ebesi.
Yeah,
He
so
didn't say it, but it's part of his government.
At the end of the day, you're the
legacy.
leader. Yeah.
So how John Mahama will manage all of that is what I'm looking forward to seeing.
We wish him all the best.
I do. I genuinely, because if he doesn't, honestly, see, we have suffered. Ghana needs to get to a point where we feel confident in the future of the nation.
Yeah.
So if this doesn't work, I honestly don't know what the next election would look like, because I feel like the verdict was an anger verdict. Like,
we are tired. Yeah.
So I don't know what's going to happen with, now we tired the two of you. I don't know what's going to happen here. So please, all the best. Please get it right. Thank you. I beg you. We're counting on you. Me, I'm counting
She's
on you.
counting on you. Wow, beautiful. Thank you so much, Keni. I have a closing session, right? I've taken a lot of your time, so I want this to come to an end. One, I have something called final seven questions.
Final 7 questions.
They are questions you're supposed to answer quick. Jesus. Don't worry. Then a mystery element, which is you ask a question from the next guest. Okay. And also answer a question from the previous guest. Okay, so which one do you want to take first?
Hit me with the 7 something.
What's the lesson life had to teach you the hard way?
It's not always about your feelings.
What's a skill everyone should learn, but most people don't?
How to take feedback. Even I am still learning.
If you could time travel, but only once, where or when would you go?
So when my father was alive.
Oh.
I have a lot of questions to ask him. So when he was alive and healthy.
Right.
So that we could have like 3 hours. I'll just ask him a lot of questions and then he can go back to heaven.
If you weren't doing what you do now, what would you be doing?
I was going to say I'll be in politics, but we've already spoken about that. So probably, I know. I would be writing, I would be traveling the world and writing about my experiences. So wherever I go, experiences, I'll write stories about what I see there. Yeah.
Beautiful. What's a weird fact you know that most people should?
A weird fact?
Yeah.
That most people should know?
Yeah.
And they don't know?
Yeah.
Hey.
If you don't know, you can pass.
Pass. What do I know?
The first person to answer this question, I'll give him money. Or her money. Wow. If you could have dinner with your younger self, what would you say?
Oh, check my Instagram. I said it. But I think it would really be trust the process. Okay. I know that trust the process. It may look basa, but
just trust it.
Yeah.
Does the process know we are trusting it?
It doesn't, but trust it.
Okay. Last one. If you could invent one thing to make life easier, what would it be?
I don't know about invent one thing, but I would definitely say I would probably pass a law that makes life easier for working moms. That's the only thing.
You're going through it then?
Yes, like just trying to figure out how to
balance
pick him up. If I'm at work, how am I going to leave work to make sure he's okay?
Oh.
If he's doing something in school, it means that they have to take the day off.
I think they should pass. I don't want my wife to stress. Or maybe I'll just pick him up.
Wow. Wow, are you really shooting your shots indirectly to my podcast episode? Wow.
Oh, good. Okay, so that was the final 7. Now the mystery question from the previous guest. Please listen to the question from here.
Okay.
What's your impact story?
What's my impact story? My impact story, it's still being written. But one, to make creative arts more central in our nation's story, and to also be an example of what it means like to fully represent Jesus and to still navigate this world. Because most people are, if you are Jesus heavy, then they just assume that they don't expect you to be in the corporate space or to be doing things like this, but to show that it's possible, to be that example. That's really what I'm hoping to do. The last thing is to tell Ghana stories, whether through writing or in any way that I can contribute to tell the story of Ghana in a better way that it's being told now. I want people to listen to our story and think, I want to visit this country, or I want to be a part of this. And there's a way it can be done. So that's what I hope to do.
All right, please record a question for our next guest who you don't know.
Hi, next guest. My question for you is, what are you going to do to ensure that Ghana becomes what it should become in the next 10 years? What's your contribution? Answer.
Wikido. All right.
Yes, I moved to the way you have moved to me in the podcast.
Yeah, I've moved to the guest.
person.
This
Yes.
is not me. All the best to the person. All right, thank you so much, Keni, for coming. This was a lovely
Thank you for
episode.
having me.
Please look them in the camera. This is your camera. Please look them in the eyes and tell them to subscribe to this channel, because we'll be back when you're a politician.
Guys, please subscribe to Unscripted with Raygan. There are quality conversations. There are fine girls like Anatolia and me who have come to grace the table. But I mean, the quality of the video is good, so your eyes won't suffer, you know. But you walk away learning something. Something will challenge you. You would mindset shift. So please subscribe. Don't just watch the ones you like and go away. Subscribe, because you never know. President Mahama might come here. Don't slack. By the time he comes, we'll not take the new people.
No.
So please,
We'll close the door.
while you still can. Okay.
Thank you guys. I will catch you in the next one. Bye.